Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Holsinger's Fly Shop. I'm going to bring you a wet fly today. It's a really cool old school style pattern. It's called the Queen of the Water. And if you watched my halfback video, I had one of the customers that comes to the shop regularly. He always brings in flies for me to tie that are old ones like the Hornberger, the halfback. He brought this fly in for me as the Queen of the Water fly and said, "Can you tie this?" And I said, "I'll give her a try." So I was really excited to tie it because it's an old school wet fly, and that's how I cut my teeth on fly fishing, is tying wet flies and fishing wet flies. So it was really neat for me to get to tie this one. It's one that I didn't know of before, and I'm going to have it in my box for this year. So the cool thing about it is I'll get to teach you a couple new techniques that maybe you don't use, and let's get into tying it here. You're going to see it in the vise and then the material list. Okay guys, here you see the fly in the vise. It's a really cool looking fly. The Queen of the Water fly. It's just a buggy looking fly. So let's get into tying it here. For the hook, I'm going to tie it on a Firehole 633 in a size 12. There you see it there. And for the thread, I'm using Rusty Brown in 70 Denier. And I'm just going to start it on there, and I'm going to wrap it back towards the bend of the hook, but not the whole way. You can see where it starts to bend about right here, and you see where I stopped about an eye length. I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to put on a piece of extra small French oval tinsel. If you have, I forget what the stuff is called now. Extra small French oval tinsel works. Sulky is the name of the stuff I'm thinking of that you can get at your craft store. Sulky makes a thread that's just like this in gold and silver. So anyhow, we're going to wrap this on here. I'm going to make about 4 wraps with this, and I'm going to create a little gold tag at the back. And then once I get them 4 wraps on, I'm just going to pull this back up here and tie it back off right there in front of the tag. And then I'm going to bring this around behind here and cover it all up with thread so it's facing backwards, because we're going to wrap this up here in a second. Now, next thing I'm going to tie on, I'm going to make the body of this out of thread, so it's okay to build up a little bit of body here with it. Next thing we're going to tie on is a brown hen hackle, and you can see I stripped the feathers back here. Well, I pulled the fluff off the back, off the shaft here, and I stripped it back a little bit farther than normal because it's a pretty soft shaft on this feather, and it's been tending to break. So I'm going back far enough that I'm not worried about it breaking. And I'm just going to tie that down, and I'm going to tie it right to that gold tinsel. And then we're going to trim this off. And then I'm going to bring my thread up here to the eye. And I'm going to stop about an eye length behind there. If you got a couple loose stragglers like that, that's fine, because they're all going to be joined on here in a second with the hackle that we wrap up. So we're going to wrap the gold tinsel up here, the oval tinsel, and make about 4 good wraps with it. And then we're going to cut this off. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this hackle forward. Now, when I wrap this hackle forward, put it in my hackle pliers. There we go. And I'm going to preen these fibers backwards. And I'm going to wrap this on, and I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to keep preening these backwards. So as it goes, there we go. As it goes up the shank of the hook here, I'm going to try to go in between those gold wraps and keep twisting it back. There you go, this is turning out nice. And I'm going to wrap it the whole way up to the end here. Okay, And as you saw there, the whole time I'm pulling these back so they have that natural tendency to go back like that. Now I'm going to wrap it off. Okay, make a couple wraps there to hold it down, and then I'm going to make a couple more wraps just to secure it so I feel better about it not going anywhere. Now I'm going to put another piece of hackle on. I'm going to use another piece of brown hackle. And we're just going to tie that tag in there again. I'm going to tie it facing down. I'm going to tie it the right way this time. Should have tied the last one facing down, but I didn't. Okay, and we're going to tie that tag off. Oops, cut too much. I cut my feather off too. That happens sometime. No biggie. When it does, pull a couple more of those fibers out. Okay, give you something to tie onto. Cut that off. There we go. Give me something to tie off to there. Alright, don't fret whenever stuff happens like that. It's no big deal. There we go. Now, again, we're going to peel these fibers backwards. And then we're going to wrap this on. And while we're wrapping, we're going to continue to help them to go backwards. And it's a soft hackle here, so I'm going to do about 3 wraps at the most. I don't want it overpowering, but I do want it on there. And then we're going to tie it off. Okay, so you can see how it's got a lot of nice hackle on there. It's very buggy. That's what we're after with this fly, a very buggy fly. Okay, now, I'm going to make a decent little head there, but keep it small. And there you can see how we got it nice and very buggy looking. The next thing I'm going to do is take a wood duck flank feather. I'm going to pull a couple fibers off of each side, about 8 or so. Oops. Okay, and I'm going to pull them off of one side. I'll sit it down. Then I'm going to pull off the other side of the feather. Oops. I'm going to have to cut it because you see there I pulled my pulled the shaft off. So I just cut those off, okay? So now I'm going to take the 2 pieces here and I'm going to line them up together and put them inside to inside, okay? You can see how this one bows up. I'm going to put this one bowing down. I'm going to put the tips together, and this is going to create my wing. Okay, then you see there how I got a nice little wing. I'm going to set this on top, and I'm going to measure it right to about the end of the hook. I don't want to go any further. And I'm going to pinch it down on top and make a couple nice wraps. And don't make your head too big here. That's one of the biggest problems I had when I was a beginning fly tyer, was I would make my head too big. Now the last thing, or crowd in the eye, that's another popular problem. You can see there you got a nice wing on top. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make the head on this fly. To make the head, I use a black marker. Okay, I don't want to switch threads, so I'm just going to take a black marker and I'm going to color about 6 or so inches of this thread. And it's going to change the color of my thread to what I want. So we just use that black marker, wrap that on there. Oops. Do a nice whip finish, but of course it didn't want to work for me. So actually I'm going to have to come back here with a little bit of thread and clean this up. Okay, thanks to the magic of editing, I'm back here with another bobbin here. I'm just going to start this on here. Like I said, I want to keep it small, so I'm going to minimize my wraps this time. I hit it with that brown again, or with the black. Put just a little bit too much tension. Too many wraps is what happened. I put too many wraps on that last whip finish, just trying to cover and make that black head. The better thing to do would be to make like 2 whip finishes, about 5 turns each, like I'm doing this time, and you can see how I got that nice black head there. Then I'm going to just seal that up with a little bit of Solarez bone dry after I cut this tag from the last wrap. There you go. One thing I stress in my videos a lot of times is you make mistakes when you're tying, okay? It's not the end of the world. Don't throw the fly away. Just repair your mistakes. And a lot of times, you know, it's not real bad mistakes. It's just little things. So there we go. We'll hit that with our light, and it's done. So give this fly a try. You're going to like it. Okay, I really hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did tying it. It's a fun fly to tie, and like I said, it's an old school style fly, which is really cool. I like getting back to my roots. I like getting back to the old wet flies, and I'm going to have fun fishing this one this year. I already have a spot in mind where I want to swing it. Check it out, you know, give it a try. It's maybe some new techniques to you, some things you need to practice. Maybe it's just tie it just because it's fun to tie. So anyway, the material you need to tie it, you can find on our website at holsingersflyshop.com. And like always, guys, check out our social media with Facebook and Instagram. Don't forget about Bugs and Beards, one of our Facebook pages, and listen to our Bugs and Beard podcast. They're really cool with some really cool guests, and I'm gonna be busting out a bunch of them here soon. I'll be doing a couple shows where I'll be podcasting live from the shows, and gonna have some great guests lined up from there. So thanks for tuning in, guys. I really enjoy bringing these to you, and I'm thankful that you guys like to watch them. So if you have any suggestions for me, anything you want me to tie, feel free to drop me an email, holsingersflyshop@gmail.com. You know, just like this, I need suggestions sometimes. I have 250 some videos out right now. I run out of ideas sometimes. So things like this are really cool to, you know, give me something to tie, give me something to work on. Anyhow, guys, tune in next week when I bring you another fly tying video. Until then, I'm Sean Holsinger.